Morning. Let's move some of these things out of the way. Get out of the way. So much on my desk. Let's see if we can get a bit further up. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late today because I was trying to get everything together. Big pile of powders and paints. Morning, 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 morning. How are we this morning? Bit of a strange day in Milton Keynes. 1 minute the sun's out, and the next minute it's dull. Oh, if you can see my desk, I've got so many things piled up. No pressure then, Valerie. Hi, Teresa. So I'm not sure if Phil's shared this to group, but while we're at it, let's just have a quick look. Some people might not be able to find me. Oh, let's share to group then. Copy link. Right. Don't know if he's up, maybe he's not up. Oh, thanks, Chrissy. I've just done it as well. There's probably a few shares in there now. Okay, so we're going to do some techniques with the Flawless Media paints and powders. We'll start with the paints because I think they're probably a little bit harder to work with. They are for me anyway. But they're all obviously it's already mixed as a paint. Hello, my darling. So he's up. So so I thought we'd do kind of, I don't know, half an hour on the paints and half an hour on the powders, but we'll see how we go. We might be recapping some techniques I've already shown you, but sometimes it's a good idea to kind of have a bit of a refresher, and it never ever looks the same twice anyway, regardless of what you do. So in the Flawless Media range, we've got the metallic acrylic paints, and we launched these in February as part of the big birthday weekend, and there are currently 20 different colours in the metallic acrylic paints. There is more to come, not necessarily metallic, but there are definitely more paints to come in the range, so do watch out for those. And if you're collecting, you might be as well collecting the metallics before all the others come out. And if you're wondering what all these numbers are, these are the numbers of the collections that there were on Create and Craft when it first launched. So number ones are, I think, all the metallics, as in the metallic colours. So we've got gold and we've got pearl and obsidian, no, gunmetal rather. So those are they, and I think Phil sells them as individuals or sets on Honeypot Crafts, and I sell them on my website juliawattscrafts.co.uk as individuals, because I don't do bundles on anything. It's too difficult for me to photograph. So also I should say that there is currently on my website an offer for 20% off everything in my clearance and my pre-loved sections. So you need to enter this code here, spring20, in the discount code box at checkout to activate your checkout. Don't ask me to do it for you afterwards, because I don't do that. I'll cancel your order and then you can re-put it in, but I'm not adjusting it for you. So you pop that in the discount code box at checkout, and that's the wrong thing there. What is that? Sorry, bear with me. What's Facebook doing? Let's just reset that. Leave the page, please. Thank you. Yeah, and it expires at midnight tonight. So, and once these pre-loved and clearance items have gone, that's it, they've gone. So here's a link to my website if it decides to type in. There we go. And at the top you see the menu and it says pre-loved or clearance, so just go in there, and there is some Sentimentally Yours stuff in there, and there's nothing wrong with any of the stuff that's in there. It's just that I need the space, and obviously I'm moving at some point, and the pre-loved is, again, I need the space, and I've found some real gems as well. That's all right, Linda. Right, so let's crack on with some techniques. So, like I say, you might have seen some of these already, or you might not. But it's always good to have a recap, isn't it? So, this is the Roses stencil. I can't remember what it's called. 6x6 stencils. Again, we launched these on the birthday weekend. And so I'm just going to pop it onto a piece of the Super Smooth watercolour card, because we can take loads and loads of water on this. So I don't know if the ladies that won the homework boxes are watching. I know one lady's received her box, but I don't know about the other lady. Not everybody tells me. So we're going to just add some texture medium through this, which I've got out, and I'll put it there. I'm trying to tidy this room up, but because I've got to sleep in this next weekend. And I have done. But of course it's going to be a right old mess once I've finished doing this, isn't it? I found the bed anyway. 285, 885, excellent. So yes, YouTube channels. Let's just get the links for you of those. Phil and I are building up our YouTube channel so that we can do some live streaming over there, and there will be kind of special events and things going once we can actually get over there and do these live streams. So this is my channel, and I'm up to 885. Excellent. And let's just find Philip's, and he's at 883. Woohoo! Girls rule, that's all I'm saying. It doesn't happen very often. I have to kind of put up with this, you know, and because this is the first time I've been ahead for absolutely ages. So there's Phil's channel, and I ought to bring you Ilona's as well, because Ilona, who's on the design team, she's done some wonderful videos already for us. And it's nice to kind of follow her as well, really. Give her a bit of support. So Ilona's on 52 subscribers. So yeah, she definitely needs some more. So give Ilona some love. And there's her link there. Let's crack on, because this is not doing a demo, is it? Let's find a spatula. And this is our texture medium from Sentimentally Yours, and it dries lovely and clear. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop it through this lovely rose stencil first of all, and it does dry quite quickly actually. It does depend on the size of the holes in your stencil. So for example, the mesh stencil is going to dry quicker than this one, because this one's got bigger detail in it. It also depends on the temperature. So at the moment it's reasonably warm because we're in spring and there's no heating on, but it's going to dry quite quickly. In the winter or in the autumn and the early spring, when it's cooler and you've got no heating on, then it's going to take longer to dry. But it's not too bad anyway. I'm trying not to overwork it, but I'm trying not to waste any either. But you can pop it back in the pot because I've not mixed anything in it. Win-win. And a little tip, just wipe around the edge of the top so it's nice and clean, and then you'll be able to get into it next time you want to use it, because it is like a gel medium. So it's like a glue, so you can absolutely use this as a 3D glue. But you need to be careful So let's take this one. This is Summer Poppy. Get into the lid. Every single time I open them I get mucky. Let's pick a few colours out. What's this? Let's have a gold, vintage gold. Again, dirty finger, dirty thumb rather. And let's have, oh, this one. This is my favourite, Lime Crush. And we're just going to daub a bit of the paint around. You can do it in kind of swathes, so just do one area green, one red and one gold if you want to. You can absolutely do that. Let's pop the lid on. You want to make sure the lid kind of snaps on. And a little bit of the gold. Dob, 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 dob. You will get some mixing going on here because we're daubing it all over the place. So you get some different colours going. You never know exactly how it is. Don't go and have a cup of tea and then come back to do this because you'll find that your stencil's glued down. A bit of the Summer Poppy. I think that's enough. Right, lid on. Oh, I heard it come back up again. Right. And let's give it a bit of a spread. Let's try and do the reds, the greens first. A bit of the gold. This is why sometimes it's easier to do it separate, as in separate areas. And then we give it a... So this will be quite autumnal. And remember, where your areas are white, that's going to dry clear. So if you don't want any of it clear, make sure that the whole area is covered. I don't think I've got any paste in there. Okay. Put in some water and take this off for the big reveal. Now it's not going to, so it's going to be a bit milky at the moment because obviously I'll get my bin out. Obviously the texture paste goes on white and it dries clear, but hopefully it might be by the time we finish, if you remind me, because I won't remember. Sticking a little bit because we've had a chat. Let's put that there for a second because I want to use that. So now we'll have, like I say, it's a little bit milky, so it's not shiny as it will be. So now we'll have a very autumnal looking set of roses. So that's one technique. Now we've obviously got paint on our stencil that we're not going to waste. This is the bit that Phil doesn't do. It does clear up, but we don't want to waste that. So another piece of card. And I'm going to mist the stencil with some water because obviously the paint's quite dry on there. It's not dry, but because it's acrylic, it's going to go on any surface. It's a multi-surface paint, so you do need to make sure that you get it off where you don't want it. So now we can just go in there with a stencil brush, do our circular motions, and we get a freebie. And this is going to obviously be quite flat because we're not spreading texture paste through. Now what you could do is, if you want to, is actually do this, let it dry, clean your stencil, then pop the stencil back over the top and do a layer of your texture medium on top, and then that will be nice and glossy and dimensional, but you'll see that colour underneath. So you can absolutely do that, which is quite a nice thing to do. So that's a freebie. You can probably go again and you get it lighter, but you're kind of cleaning your stencil and getting yourself, and look, isn't that beautiful orange? That it's a lovely metallic orange background. Obviously remember their backgrounds. Don't think, oh, that looks a mess. It's a background. By the time you put a frame around it and a sentiment and a bunch of flowers around it, that's going to be a really nice card. did it, Jean. That's a shame. But you're here now. You're here now. You didn't miss a lot. You just missed me faffing about quite a lot. Right, so that's that. Now, what else was I going to do? I've forgotten already. No, I was going to do something else. Absolutely. Right. So, we know that we can paint grey board and we can paint MDF with the paints, and the coverage is really, really good. So I've got two little butterflies here, and these are from the butterfly grey board, and all the elements of the compendium box kit are now available individually on both Honeypot Crafts and on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk. And I don't have very many. I've literally got a couple. So once they've gone, they've gone. There won't be any more. So let's just grab something I wanted to grab, because I told you I was busy grabbing things, and there was something that I wanted to grab on my trays. Oh, there it is. Or my deflector that's under my desk. Right. So there's a couple of cool techniques that you can do. So I'm not going to show you how to paint because you know how to paint. Let's get some brushes. Let's just take, again, a few colours. Let's go for some metallics. So we've got that one, and that one. So we've got a silver, a gold. So we've got gold, silver and copper. Okay. Take the lids off. In fact, I think what we might go for is stencil brushes rather than that brush. 1, 2, and I've got 3, 1 down here. Again, I've shown this before, but it's like a reminder. Who was in and out? What's Alice saying? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Football. Right, so I've got two, so you can hopefully see the difference here with what we're doing. So let's take some copper first of all, and we'll pop the copper in by stenciling it, or using a stencil brush rather than brushing on. You're going to get that kind of stippled look to it, so it's going to be a bit dimensional, like so. Let's just give that a blast with my heat tool so it dries. I mean, it will dry on its own, but obviously you don't want to wait for that because it's going to take longer to dry, because it's a bit dimensional. Still reasonably quick. Okay. So if I show you that, and you see, let's see if I've got it in the right position, which I never do. So you can hopefully see that that's got a little bit of dimension going on it, right? Over there, Julie, that's where the camera is. Right, so now if we do another colour on top, so if we perhaps take the gold and stipple that on top, obviously depending on what size of brush you're doing. Let's not do the whole lot, so we can still see some gold underneath. And the gold top. And give that a blast. And because it's on its second layer now, it's going to bubble up even more. Remember, it's just paint. There's nothing added to this. It's just paint, just the pure paint. So let's see if I hold this up in the right place. It's a bit warm. So you can see all the texture going on. Do I sell stencil brushes? I don't know if I've got any left in stock. I don't know, Jean. They've been quite hard to get hold of. just type in stencil brush and we'll see. Right, so that's the second layer. And then if you want to go for a third layer, this is how you can do your rust and patina looks, by choosing paints that fit into that category. So a little bit of the silver. Again, we want to see the colours underneath, or a lot of the silver even. Okay, want a bit more there. A bit on the tail. So it's not. This isn't like a butterfly you'd see in the wild, because obviously it's silver and gold and copper, but it's not symmetrical either. So again, when you give this another go, this kind of it's really cool the way it bubbles up. I mean, obviously, if you don't like the lots of different colours on, you can just do it with several coats of the same colour, and it will give you that kind of stippled look. So there we go. There's our embellishment done, just a little bit different. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is actually mixing in some of this Pentart 3D powder into it, and you'll find this in the rust and patina kits. I think I might have a patina kit in the clearance section on my website, so do have a look with that Spring 20 offer. So if you want to do this, then we'll do one just to show you the difference. So I'm going to just put a little bit of copper onto my craft sheet, and that's far too much, but you know, it is what it is. And let's take a woodware tool just to get some of it. So the 3D powder is ultra fine, kind of, as you can see, powder. So if you mix some of this in, it does go everywhere. It's a bit like micro beads. Then you're going to give your paint a little bit of texture anyway. Try not to knock it over. And this way, if you wanted to, you get that kind of bubble effect. So you've got little bubbles going on in there without you having to heat it to do it. So that's one. Takes a little bit of time. And then we go for the gold. Add some balls. In fact, I'm just going to dip my brush. That's easier. Do make sure you haven't got too much paint on your brush so it doesn't fall in your balls. You don't want painty balls. Oh. If you want a lot of texture, you pick a lot of balls up. As he actually said to the bishop. You see? It's probably going to get wasted now. Sorry. And then finally, let's just give that a bit of a blast so it doesn't... And the balls shouldn't go anywhere. They should be encased within the paint. Obviously, when you're working on a bigger piece and with more paint, then it's easier to spread. In fact, for the other layer, let's use a proper paintbrush. Let's see how different it is by using a proper paintbrush. I wouldn't stipple this on with this paintbrush though, because this will ruin the paintbrush. So you just want to paint little bits on. So I can get a really good, with a proper paintbrush, I can get a really thick layer. So we could go for a bit more of a symmetrical butterfly, except I've run out of paint now. Come on. So one side's very lumpy and the other side isn't. But you can see there that you've got the dimension coming on from the balls. So there's two different ways of doing that, one with the balls and one without. So obviously you don't need the balls if you want dimension, you can absolutely do it, but it's just to show you that if you've got these balls lying around, because I know what we do, we get kind of caught up, don't we, in the moment, and we'll just buy these things and they think, what on earth am I going to do with those now? Well, you can mix them in with your paint and you can make your paint more textural if you want to. And you can absolutely mix the balls in with your texture medium as well. So that's something else that you can do. So let's just put those to one side and mop up. Yeah, I've got my... Ronnie's saying it's lovely to hear the birds. I've got my window in my craft room slightly open, just on the notch, and yeah, you can hear them singing the bird song in the morning. Although we're in Milton Keynes and we're on an estate, the bird song in the morning is quite loud. They have a right old go, they do. Right, bins there. Right, so something else I wanted to show you as well is with the stencil, still with the paints. And this is the stencil from the compendium box kit. What you can do is take a sponge or two, or maybe three, I might grab another one in a minute, and take some paints. This is the electric blue. Let's just, in fact, let's spritz first. A bit of water. A tiny bit of paint. You don't have to dilute it if you don't want to, but I want to. Let's put that on there. And pick it up. Give it a good mix round. So you can actually put this through the stencil, and so choose this, treat this as like an ink pad. So this is just a kitchen sponge. Let's add in some more colours. So if we added into that a little bit of pink, this is your rose pink. My sponge. So we're having pink and blue, so we're going to make a purpley colour hopefully. So it's actually deepened and made it a purple, and we're really not using very much paint at all. Let's go lighter still, or darker still rather, and let's bring in your hot pink. This is a darker pink. Look at my thumb. We're still using the same sponge. You could use different sponges if you wanted to, but I'm being lazy. And again, just go into that. Maybe bring in a bit of water. And remember, this has still got blue in it, so we've got a purpley pink rather than a pink pink. And that'll be dry virtually straight away. So there we've got, using the paints, we've got kind of quite a subtle background through there. No, the sponge is dry, and I've just added a bit of water to my mat. So obviously you can do that. You know, there was a tiny bit, the minute amount of paint left on my stencil, so it wasn't worth taking a second print. But yeah, so it's really quite, it's not as in your face as if you were using your texture medium. And that's kind of dry now. That's how quick the paint dries, because there's not much water added to it. And if you misted that now, it wouldn't do anything. In fact, look, I'll show you. Because it's an acrylic paint, it's not going to bleed or anything like that, because once the acrylic paint's dry, that's it, it's not water reactive. So you can do all your watercolour techniques on top of that if you wanted to. To one side. So that's that, and obviously your sponges you can just wash out in water and use again. Win-win. So let's see what we at. Right, we're just over half an hour. Is there anything else I can show you with the paints? Let's consult my list. Oh yes, let's do that. We'll do one more thing with the paints and then we'll move on to the powders. Right, so I need, there it is. I've got my heat tool wrapped around my leg, which is a bit of a bad thing to do. I'm also sitting with a towel on my lap, which is making me quite warm. Right, so we need an indigo blue paint mat. For a second. Indigo blue paint mat. Let's grab a shape. Let's grab a stamp actually first. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Let's grab this one. Phil was using this one yesterday, wasn't he? He was using one of the borders. So I think we'll use one of the rose corners. I might as well use the one that's already dirty. Let's use this one. And I actually want a thin block. Do you know, it took me ages this morning to find. Oh, there was something else I was going to do. We might be more than half an hour because there's something else I was going to show you as well. It took me ages to find what I was looking for this morning because I tidied up. I hate tidying up. Right. What's the benefit of the stamp? Do you mean this? Do you mean this, Jean? My paint mat? I'll explain in a second the benefit of it. Let's choose a couple of paints. I always go for the same ones. Let's go for, oh, that's Summer Poppy, isn't it? I've just done Summer Poppy. What's this one? Burnt Orange. And I want another one. I want a second one. Where's the purple's gone? Here's purple. I don't think those will go together very well though. Let's do purple and teal. So we've got heliotrope and the teal. Right, so tidying up his face. Yes, Jean. Yes, I'll explain it in a second, Jean. Hang on a sec. Right, so we've done that. I need a piece of card. Okay. So this is just you know, when you do a frame, you end up with the middle bit. I've got loads of middle bits. So this is one of the stitch torn rectangles. So we're going to just pop some paint onto the paint mat. And I know I'm going to tell you why. So we're just going to pop some of the heliotrope there. I'm also going to pop some of the teal on as well. Okay, that's far too much, as always. So what we're going to do is we're going to spread this out. So what happens is that, can you see? Oh, you probably can't. Can you see on my craft sheet here? Oh, it's all right. There's no paint on it. Can you see how that paint's splitting? It's not doing that on here. So I can't use that how I want to use it by using my craft mat. That's why I'm using the indigo blue paint mat. Okay, does that make sense? So the paint splits on the craft sheet, but the paint mat, it doesn't. So on your craft mat, on your paint mat, you can actually create yourself like an ink pad, if you like. So we're just blending those colours in there. So we've got the teal going into the heliotrope there. Right, I want to use those again, I think. Put those to one side, just there. Right. So then what you can do is you can take your stamp, and you can think about where you want to place it, and you can pop it into your paint and pick up paint onto your stamp and onto your thumb. I'm working in the confines here, and then you can stamp perhaps into the corner here, and you've got yourself a stamped image in the corner. And then we can go and dip again. Make sure I'm nice and covered. It's probably a bit thick, this, but you're getting the idea, hopefully. So we can go for another one in that corner. Do you see? That one's not stamped very well. Let's just go for the four corners, shall we? I don't know if I want to go four corners, but I want to use some of this paint up. There is another way that you can paint with you can stamp with the paint as well. This could be a 2-hour blooming Facebook Live at this rate. Probably not the best positioning, and that's really bad stamping, so we won't look at that one. That's probably the best one. Okay, so that's one way that you can stamp with the stamps, the paints. So obviously now you've got paint on that, so you want to pop it into some water and use a nail brush, and that will clean it off. Now there is another way that you can actually stamp with the paints, which you might prefer, and this will wash off, unless you use gesso, which is stuck on there, because remember gesso's like a primer. The paint, that will just wash off under the tap, absolutely fine, you don't need to worry about that. So what we can do is take a piece of cut and dry foam, and we can take, let's go for, I keep on picking up Summer Poppy. Why do I keep on picking up Summer Poppy? Because I like it, that's why. Now I want this is why I was keeping them upside down, but then they sit in the lid. Let's go for the burnt orange now. I've still got some fun stuff on there. Right. Another paintbrush. So we can pop some paint on here. Let's give it a bit of a, just help the paint sit a bit better. So now we make, no, the thing with this is that once it's dry, you've had it. So it is only a kind of a one use kind of thing. So you need to make sure, if you want to, unless you want to waste your foam, you want to make sure that you wash it. That makes sense. So then we can use this like an ink pad. Where's my stamps? Stamps, Julia. Let's take the other one. Is this wet enough? Yeah. That's quite wet actually. I put too much water on. It is a learning curve with any technique that you've never done before. It's a learning curve. So this is going to be a bit splodgy because there's too much water in there. All right. So for me, I find Kay at Indigo Blue is very, very good at doing the paint on the paint mat stamping. I'm not, obviously. I've showed you that. But this technique is really nice. And it looks fab in this colour, actually. This is burnt orange. Somebody got trouble with their ends. Let's do one more. So you could put this sponge in a poly bag and it might last for a little while. But obviously if you make yourself this and just keep on using it and using it and using it until it actually runs out, and then just wash it in water, the paint will probably stain, but it doesn't matter because the sponge will be good to go again. But that's going to dry when it's dry properly. In fact, I think it's dry. Yeah, it's dry already. It should have a bit of a metallic sheen to it. It's lovely, isn't it? Oh, you can just about see the metallic there. Obviously the water's diluted it, so play around with the amount of water that you put onto your sponge. Alice has lost sound. Refresh your Facebook then, Alice. Just press the refresh button and you should be getting sorted. That's what I do. I know my sound was a bit dodgy with Phil's yesterday, so I just actually kind of left the video, refreshed Facebook, and it was fine after that. I don't know why I'm trying to tidy up around you. Right, let's put that up there a minute. I'm going to put my sponge into water so I can use it for another time. It's beautiful like that, isn't it? That's my favourite. I might have already thrown the other one in the bin. Oh, I haven't. So that's the other one. You could do a two-tone as well. So like we've got two-tone here, you could take your sponge and so perhaps put just this area in the teal and that area in the heliotrope, and actually just use it in exactly the same way as I have done here, but then you'll get the two-tone here. I think when I stamp like this, you can see where I've got too much, it's kind of there's like flecks of the paint. It's a different texture and a different technique, but I do personally prefer that one. It's all a learning curve. See, you learn stuff, I learn stuff, we all learn stuff. Right, let's put that in there. I've got so many paintbrushes lying around. The man that was doing the shower, which he hasn't finished yet, the other day, has commandeered my bowl. So I've got a box lid at the moment that's got my water in. Those are dry. Right, that's that. One more thing with the paints and then we're definitely moving to the powders, because it's 45 minutes. Alice, have you refreshed Facebook? I did notice when Phil was doing his Facebook Live yesterday that the sound kept on just kind of catching, you know, and there was like gaps in the sound, which was a little bit weird. Right, the last thing I'm going to show you is just working with a jelly plate. I don't do jelly plates very often, and I do prefer them when I'm using my fairy hugs. I sometimes just do a round print with a bit of a watermark with distress, but I don't tend to use them with paints very often, but lots and lots of people do. And Abs from All in Create is an absolute expert with jelly printing, so if you want any tips on jelly printing, then watch the All in Create shows or watch any of his Instagram lives that he does. But you can absolutely do the techniques that Abs does with the various paints. I think he uses some Dinah Wakely ones and various other ones, but you can absolutely do it with the paints here. So we're just going to do a very, very simple print, because that's me, very, very simple printing. So we'll take, let's see. Well, that'll probably be quite nice with this. No. I have got some. Oh, that's perfect, I think. We do a print on a A6 card, and then it can be kind of matted and layered. That's what we'll do. And we may actually go off the page a bit, because that's quite a nice thing to do as well. So we're going to use the wire template, the stencil rather, not a template. And we want a piece of copy paper as well. And let's have a bit of paint. This is the hardest thing, deciding what colours to use. No, I want a nice strong one. Let's go for this. This teal. Let's just go for teal, because that's here. Right, and we want another spatula jobby. You don't need much paint. That'd be plenty. And we're just going to use our 4-inch brayer to move the paint around so it's covered. I think there's all sorts of gunk on this, both on the brayer and on the plate. Oh, can't show you that. You didn't see that, did you? So cleaning my brayer. That's all you need to do. It stains. Just get over it. Right, so now we're going to pop the wire stencil onto our jelly plate, and we're going to just take a piece of copy paper and just press it in. It's better to use copy paper because it's thinner, and rather than card, because you think, oh, well, I could get another print there, but you could, but your copy paper's nice and thin, so you can really press into it. So what we're doing now is removing, it's a bit like a football, isn't it? We're removing the paint from where the stencil is. So now we've got a pattern. We've also got this going on here. So what we could do is take a, what's it, jobby? Oh, let's give it a mist first with water. And I bet I haven't got any clean stencil brushes. I've got a bag of brushes somewhere. Oh, I've got one. Excellent. There it is. It's only a little one. Is it coming off? No. Well, it is a little bit. Doesn't want to come off. That's better. Because it's wire, it probably missed the stencil. So it's just a freebie, isn't it? You know, and when you've got the insides of your frames, sometimes you don't, I mean, I hardly ever use the die cuts from that, so it's just a freebie. And it's just a background, isn't it, at the end of the day? So we've got, that's our freebie. Win-win. And obviously you could actually do something with that if you wanted to as well. Right, so going back to my jelly plate. Hopefully this is dry now. It should be. So normally you go, at this point, you take a white paint, just a normal matte one. But obviously we don't have matte ones, so we can absolutely use one of the others. We also don't have a really, really pale yellow. It is better to use a really pale colour. So we're going to go for the pearl, I think. But I want to see it, don't I? Well, let's try it. Just try it. Let's just live dangerously. Let's just go for the silver. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know? It's not a problem. That's fine. close enough. Just goes to, if it doesn't work, it just goes to show that I shouldn't do paint jelly plate pressing on an alive, really, should I? So now we should be able to just go off the page slightly, give it a good old press. You can even go on the back and give it a press as well if you wanted to. There we go. There's our jelly plate press. So all you need to do then is perhaps just type a sentiment. You could have a stamp, I don't know, a flower or something up there if you wanted to. But, you know, matte and layer that onto your black and you're good to go. Don't worry about your jelly plate here, because you can easily clean it off with applying another piece of another load of white paint, or when you do another print, then you'll just have a little bit more interest going on there. So don't worry about that, it's going to be absolutely fine. Let's just give this brayer a bit of a clean. Sometimes it's good to keep one brayer for paint and one brayer for inks, but I haven't. So that's all the paints. I'm moving on from the paints now. Is that all right? So hopefully that's lots of techniques to do with the paints. We might not spend as much time on powders because I've already done loads on powders, but I mean, it's endless, the amount of things that you can do with powders. So, tidy up a bit as I go. Right, so I did want to just show you this here. So this isn't Fill, this is indigo blue. I'm sure you won't mind, because I'm going to bring in some of the powders with the indigo blue Vivids. There is a video on my YouTube channel which shows how I did this. I'll just get the link for you. So I was quite pleased with this. And this is just using the Vivids refills. So the Vivids are in airless bottles. You can see that what happens is that as you use it, the liquid, the bottom piece moves up because the air drags it up, and we've only got this little kind of tube at the top there that the ink comes out of. And once you get to the top, once it's empty, you just flush it all out. And I know Kay's going to do a video on how to refill it, but these are the refills. But the refills you can use in lots and lots of different ways, and this is one way, or several ways actually. And I've used Resist in the background, and it's because it's a matte. These are matte. They do mica ones as well. These are matte. These are all on my website, by the way. You've got there's no kind of sparkle or anything going on there, but you can absolutely change them and do different things with them. So in some paint brushes, water brushes rather, I have the three different, they're the primary colours. So you've got the blue's Little John, then we've got the yellow Loxley yellow, and we've got the red Will Scarlet, which is, you know, Kay always does really interesting names with her products. So obviously we can use these, and we can do a Resist. So where's my bits and pieces? I know I've got some in here somewhere. Bear with. I absolutely have. Did I put them on the other pile? I've got a black one. I can't use the black one. There we are. There it is. So, for example, we can take one of these, and we can just, if you mist it with water first, it moves better. This is one of the spectacular squares. This is one of the lady ones, the one with the feather. So we can take this and just drag it over the top. And this is a mix of the Vivids with water. So we can now bring in the yellow. And where the yellow meets the red, you get an orange. And where, if we bring in the blue, I love the way it moves around as well, and blue. And where the blue meets the yellow, you get a green. It's just, they're really, really cool inks. Well, we've got that, okay, so we've got that. So that's going to dry matte. That's absolutely fine, so that's the resist. But if we were to do this on black, you won't see them. So just on a scrap of card here, you can see that because it's a die, you can't see them. But that's fine. If you want to see them on black, you need to add some powder to them, or use one of the ones with mica in. But what if we don't want to use black, and what we want to do is actually see the pinks, or the reds, the yellows and the whites, and we want to see it on white card. So let's just take a stamp quickly, and let's just take one of the big backgrounds. I need an acrylic block. Is that an A5? Nope, it's not an A5. It looks like an A5. So this is the music big background. So I've put all the big backgrounds are in the clearance section because I need space, as I said. I'm not sure if I've got one of these left, but so they're all with the 20% off if you do the spring 20 in the discount code box at checkout. That's it. The circular arrow at the top is the refresh. Yeah, you've got it, Alice. Sometimes it doesn't make any difference, sometimes it does. Don't think I've used this before. How rude. How rude. Stamping might not be brilliant though. So in which case, let's stamp it in black. We'll do that, and then I'll stand more chance of getting it right. There's my burst fine clear. Here it is. I do need a resist going on, so we do need to stamp and emboss. So I'm looking for, there it is. Yeah, they're wonderful with their colours. They're such a lovely couple. Sadly, they're not coming to my party next week because they've double booked themselves and they're doing a dirty weekend next weekend. Right, so Burst Fine Clear. So we've got the Nocturne. Give it a good old ink. I'm not expecting this to be perfect because I don't actually stamp as well on the A5 block. In fact, I do. No, that's rubbish, isn't it? It's the A5 block I get on better with than the stamping platform with these. But this is the first stamping of this stamp. It wouldn't be good to have a clean stamp, would it really? So let's take a piece of paper so that I don't make too much of a mess. It doesn't matter which way up it is because you just turn it around. It might not be straight though. It might not be straight. Let's just hope. No, I'm afraid no gate crashes allowed. The caterer's only catering for so many. And the public liability insurance is only for so many as well, so sorry. Far better than the telly, yeah. Thank you. I do prefer this to the telly, but don't tell anybody I told you. Right, so good old press. Hopefully it's stamped fine. Oh look, there's a border on the back. What am I after now? Oh, this. That's what I'm after. That's good. I'm cleaning that. Let's get some clear embossing powder on here as well. So we got the resist going on, because I do want it to resist. I think it'll look nicer. Clear embossing powder. Cosmic white. Cosmic... No, I don't want cosmic crystal. I want pure white. Oh, you'd think, wouldn't you, that I'd get it out crystal clear. I do need some more clear embossing powder. If he's watching still. It's not perfect down there, but hey ho, it's fine. We'll live with it. Right, let's heat set that. Oh, I want my ink pads to all fall over. It's not actually my birthday to the 1st of June, Christine, so, but it's the closest date I could get to my birthday, so I'll be celebrating, although I'll be quite smug thinking it's not my birthday yet. I'm not that old yet. But it will be really nice to get together. There's some people that I haven't seen in years, so it would be really lovely. So obviously moving around, just following that powder as it melts to get our resist going on. And the reason we want to resist is because we're going to go on here with some of the powders. So, like I say, in here we've got some of these Vivids in here, and it's a mix of Vivids and water. So we can change these. So where's my powders? There's my powders. So if we want to change them, we can add some things, we can add some powder to them. So actually in here, so I'm thinking that I want this to stay gold, and I want it to stay as a golden colour. You can absolutely just take the powders and mix them with water and put them into a water brush if you want to. But I'm going to get the intensity of the Vivid and I'm just going to give it some pearlescence. So I'm going to take pale gold. This could be a bit tricky. And I'm going to pop some pale gold down the tube. Why did I try and put too much in? Because I'm a plonker, that's why. That should be enough. I've got it all over me. Be like the Queen and have two. I don't actually know what I'm going to do on my actual birthday. I'm not going to work, that's for sure. I'm going to have the day off. I don't think I've had a day off since February. Too much to do. Alright, so obviously now you've got to give it a good old mix to mix that powder in with the Vivid liquid, and you've got, can you see you've got that kind of moving around in there, which is quite lovely. So let's add some other powders to it. So remember, if we wanted to just lighten it, then you want to take your Lunar Pearl, and that's going to just lighten it. So I think with the red one, we're going to stick with red, and let's take some of our Splendid Scarlet. Remember, I store mine upside down, so I have to give them a bit of a... There we go. Mom's House. Chrissy, I've accepted an offer on Mom's House this week. Apparently it's a solid offer. So there's somebody buying their house who and they've got a flat, and the lady that's buying it is pregnant, so she wants to get a move on. So and the people that are buying my mum's house are selling through my estate agent, so they know the house, they know the offer, and they know what's going on. So I'm keeping everything crossed that it all goes through. So you can see I'm only adding a bit at a time. I always don't know when to stop. You don't have to fill your water brush with your liquid if you don't want to. You absolutely don't. Where's my front? There's my top. But you know, I tend to, and then I never clean them out, which is really they get really smelly actually if you don't clean them out. The water goes stagnant, so I do need to do that. I've got a bunch on my desk that I need to do. So again, giving it a mix. You can't see the mica moving around much in that one because it's quite dark. And then we'll do the Little John. Obviously this is taking a little bit of time, so I'm really sorry about this. Let's have the Sapphire Blue in the Little John, which will really, oh, that might be a bit too dark. Let's go for this one. Cornflower Petal. Let's go for this. This is the last one. These ones are, I think these are Tim Holtz ones. No reflection on fills, but I couldn't find fills when I did this. And now I found them. They've got stagnant water in them, and I need to deal with them. Let's just put a little bit of this in here, and then we can do our painting. So you can mix the powders with your texture medium and make yourself a coloured texture medium. It won't be drying clear though, because obviously you've added a matte product. It's not matte product, it's an opaque product to it. So you can do that. You can also sprinkle the powder on top of the texture paste. So pop your texture paste through a stencil, then sprinkle your powder on top, and obviously remove the stencil, and then as it dries some of the pigment will move around a little bit, and that's a really nice thing to do. You can do exactly the same as we did with the paint and sprinkle some of the powder on top of the wet texture paste while it's in the stencil, and then drag that across in the same way as we did with the paints. You can obviously make a paint of it. You can mix it with your metallic paints as well. You can mix it with your gesso. You can mix it with, you can stamp with them. You can stamp dry and you can stamp wet, which I will show you in a video that's scheduled to go live in June. There's just loads and loads of things that you can do with them. So now we've got 3, hopefully you can see where the mica's just sat there. 3 micro ones. So let's see what happens. I don't know, it might not work, I might not have got the ratios right, but let's just see. So let's go red first. At the moment I can't see a lot of difference, but when it dries, so we'll put it aside to dry in a minute and see. So that's our red one. This is our yellow one. Oh, bit too much of a squeeze there. Let's merge those a little bit. I do love the colour that the orange that you get when you merge the two together. Obviously when you do that, when you merge them, you do need to clean off the top of your brush, because otherwise you're going to get yellow, sorry, orange further down. That's that one. And then we've got our little John here. I'm hoping it's going to show up when it's dry, because when it dries, the mica goes to the surface, so you don't always see it when it goes on. That's a really lovely lime green as well. Colours of the rainbow. Right, that's that. While that's drying, because you do want to leave it to dry naturally so that you're not dabbing anything off or forcing it. It's that way up, isn't it? There's the word postcard. Oh, what am I like? Right, put that there a second. And let's go for a pie dish. And we want to go for, hopefully I've got something to hold it with. Still, or I might not. We might have to, I can hold it with those pliers. Yep. Right, so you want to make yourself, this is a wow pie dish. I threw all my pie dishes away when I was clearing out, and so I've had to get some more. I do have some on my website. So, Indigo Blue do a clear UT, ultra thick embossing crystals, but stupidly, when I got all my UT from them, I didn't get any clear. So I'm using Cosmic Shimmer. We don't need much, she says. Let's just put, let's put that much in. Now you can use a melt pot if you've got one, and sorry, I've missed all that thread, Christine, so I'll have a look what you're saying. Yes, you can use a melt pot if you've got a melt pot, but mine's on top of the shelf. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these, and we're going to take our heat tool, and we're going to just heat from underneath. Do be careful when you're doing this, because the powder, when it melts, is very hot. But you know, if you haven't got, I don't think they don't do the melt pot anymore. Ranger, they discontinued it some years ago. See, it's starting to melt. So if you haven't got one, the wow, or a pie dish, you know, it's a good excuse to you know, have a load of apple pies or bakewell tarts or something like that, and keep your pie dish. If you don't eat pies, you know, like I say, we've got some on the website. Hopefully this is going to be enough. I've only got a little mould for it to go into. If you do too much, what you can do is pour it out onto your craft sheet, and then you can just let it set down and then remelt it later on, just over the top. You can do it. We've done that at workshops before. We've given everybody a pre-melted slither of colour duty, and then they've stamped into it. Okay, so that's all melted. So what you can do now is take a powder. Oh, decisions. Let's go for this one. Take some of this is the sea foam, I think. Yeah, sea foam. Add some sea foam. It's probably, it might be setting already. I should have a tool. Yeah, it's melted already. Let's go from the back to the bottom again. It does set really quickly. But it's not a problem. Because we're heating from below, our powder's not going to go everywhere. Obviously, the more powder there is, the longer it takes to set. Not powder, yeah, as in embossing powder rather than this powder. Are we? Come on. It's really cack-handed, isn't it? There we go. Right, let's see if we can give that a mix before it. This is a special tool that you can get. There we go. I've got some beauty on my craft sheet that I spilled. Might just add a little bit more. Don't worry about this on your tool, because what it does is it sets down as it sets, and then you just peel it off and pop it into your tray and then heat it, so it's not wasted. Let's go a bit more. Sorry, it takes a while, but it's a nice thing to do. Starting to go. I'm just going to get a mould out while I'm at it, so that I've got a couple out. These are moulds that I've made. They're quite smelly actually, because they've been a couple of buttons. They're made, Ranger used to do a product called Mould and Pour, and that's what those are made out of. This is set now on my tool. Get it off. Doesn't want to come off. Stop fiddling, Julian. Let's just finish heating this, because it's a bit boring, isn't it? Come on. If you don't, you could actually add a couple of colours in here if you wanted to. If you don't mix the powder in, so now if I don't mix it in with the clear, because I've added more clear, we probably get kind of a bit of a swirl going on when we do actually pour it. I was hoping that it wouldn't be as slow as this, is because I'm trying to hold it so you can see, which is a little bit difficult. Otherwise you'd just be looking at a blank. It's nearly there. Whatever you do, don't put your fingers anywhere near the melted powder, because it's going to be very, very hot. Just a little bit there that needs to go. Right, let's pour. Off. So you saw me, I made a little bit of a spout. It does set really quickly. I don't think I'm going to fill that one. Oh, might settle down. It's starting to set already. Okay. So what you do is you can leave that, and that can be your kind of green one if you want to. Or you can melt it again and then just use a piece of kitchen roll and you can clean it out. I've got a little bit underneath there because I made a mess. So they are reusable, so they're not kind of a one use only kind of thing. And then I've got all this mess here. I've got a little, or you can use the edge of an acrylic block to get rid of any excess. So those will dry in a second, hopefully. And we'll see if we can do another technique while they're drying, and then I can show you what it's all about. I've got a little string there coming off of that one. That one might not be any good. If any of them are no good, you can just pop it into your little tray again and reheat it and go again. So again, nothing's wasted. You know, even this kind of little bit here, pop it in your tray, melt it down, and you're good to go again. Win-win. Right, so another technique. What else can I show you? Let's have a look at my list. I've got a list. What did I do with it? Because I've shown, there are other videos on my YouTube channel that oh yeah, we do that one, that I can show, that I've done, that you can go and have a look at. So let's go for pure white embossing powder. This will be the last one, last technique, because we're at nearly an hour and a half, and Nathan will come in here in a minute and tell me I've got to have my lunch, which is at 1 o'clock, which he doesn't cook for me, of course, but he tells me I have to eat at 1 o'clock. Right, so we can make our own embossing powder. So I've got an empty pot here, and this is pure white. You can do it with clear as well. So clear will actually mean that the powders will react how they do on dark and white depending on what you're putting them on. But if you use white, then it's going to be solid, but you're just going to get a colour. So we're just going to put a little bit of white embossing powder in the bottom of there. And don't ask me what the ratios are, because it's just hit and miss. You're never going to get a finer grade of powder as you would do if you were buying a pre-mixed one, because these granules are bigger than what you would get normally. So this is the legume pool. So we're just going to add a little bit of the legume pool to that. Give it a mix and we'll have a look at it. You can do it, I used to do it in little bags. That's a bit pale, so I might want it a bit darker, but it's a really pretty blue. So if you want, you could change, you know, if you've got metal embellishments, you can change the colour of these with your embossing powder that you've made if you wanted to. That's a bit darker, isn't that a lovely colour? Right, so let's stamp something and emboss it, and then let's see what it looks like. Let's go to my Tray Chic. We'll just do a small one. You only need to see a small one. Tiny, tiny, tiny stamp. So which one is it? It's not that one, it's this one. So we can write on here, magnet. We can write on here. Oh, it is pure white. Oh, I thought it was, yeah. I put pure white in, haven't I? Yeah, pure white. Flying Lagoon Pool. Very bad writing. Just so I know what it is. You can obviously put more than one powder in if you want to, so you can change it so it looks entirely different. And we'll go for our round acrylic block, far too big for it. And we want a Versamark. Where's my Versamarks? There they are. An anti-static bag. You can also, with your moulds as well, you can also dust the powder in first and just add a UT on top. So you can use some of the glorious UTs that I've got on my website from Indigo Blue, and you can dust the powder in first of all and then put the UT on that. You can also dust your moulds with the powder and then add your air dry clay or your resin on top as well. So there's an awful lot that you can do. So this is just one of the embellishments. We'll stamp 2 just in case I make a mess, just to show you. Okay. And copy paper. And we add our lovely blue embossing powder that we've made. And where, if you've got, sometimes you get a sheen on the embossing powder. I'll show you in a minute. And what it is it's just the mica. So you can use, once you've heat set it, you can use a dry wet wipe to get rid of the excess. I don't know if you can see there's a bit of a sheen around. You always get that with embossing powders that have got a mica on it. You mean you're only now demented? Yes, my... Oh. I don't know where I can't find anything now. So it won't be as smooth as, obviously you can heat from underneath if you want to do a fill. It won't be as smooth, but it's very pretty. So we've got a lovely shimmer going on there, I think, with that. Lovely gloss. Am I held it right for you? Yeah. See both of them. See this one a bit better. Move over. Come on. Over. There we go. And then you can just use a dry wet wipe. Once it's dry, just go over and that'll remove any excess powder. So that's another thing that you can do. So obviously with all the powders that we've got, and we've got 30 now, you can have lots and lots of different powders. Just remember, you don't have to have a pot, you can just use a little poly bag with them. So I think we're all we're good now with these. Yeah, you can tell they sound. So let's do the rubbish one first. Obviously you can just come in with your scissors and get rid of that excess bit. So we've got a little button there. It's a pretty colour. This is the sea foam. See if you can see a bit more. And then this one. This is one of my favourite buttons ever, this. And you can take, let's just do this quickly as well. That's that one. That's like a pearl embellishment, that one. Doesn't it? What you can do also, just quickly, just to finish, is you could take, because remember the acrylic paints are multi-surface acrylic paints. So you could take something like your copper, and you can take take a brush, let's do it on the dodgy one first, just in case it doesn't look nice. can dry brush over the top. Ugh, can't hold it. See. And obviously that's gonna stay because it's acrylic paint. And then can you see that I've added a bit of the copper to that? With my dirty fingers. So, I mean, you can keep going until you're happy with how it looks. So that's it. I'm finishing now. I've got a lot of tidying up to do before I have my lunch. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and you've got a few more ideas. Obviously, we repeated some of the techniques. There's so many more techniques that you can do as well. But you've got some more ideas. I know, his fingers are dreadful. You've got some more ideas to use your paints, and you can really see there, can't you, the difference between the one I put on the copper on and the other ones that I haven't. I think it's really exciting to be able to kind of mess around and use some of the techniques that were around years ago and still use them with your new products. So do have a play, and remember to share your makes into the Crafting with Phil Martin and Sentimentally Yours Facebook page if you're a member. If you're not, then why not? And do ask to join. And don't forget about that 20% discount that's on my website until midnight tonight on the pre-loved and clearance sections of my website, julianwattscrafts.co.uk, and enter spring20 in the discount code box at checkout. Most of the products we've used today are available on my website. Obviously they don't all have that discount, but enjoy the rest of your day, and if you missed the beginning, or if you want to watch again, I'll pop this onto YouTube later on and you can watch at your leisure and craft along. So thanks very much. Bye.